On an average, there are about 30 to 32 lakh NGOs in India. Each NGO has different sources of cash inflow. The funds that come from abroad are linked to their FCRA accounts, that is, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. Over the time, the Indian government has brought about changes in FCRA in the past. In recent times, these changes were made in 2019 and 20. Therefore, to discuss about these recent changes, VYK and Rahi have come together to present this webinar on FCRA Amendments 2020, its implications and way forward.
I want to just say very simply that these new amendments that FCRA, it is now law, and some kind of a situation that has been created, some feeling very completely desperate, कुछ हताश हो गए, कुछ ऐसे लग रहा है कि जैसे और आगे की जिंदगी ही नहीं है ना। कुछ लोगों को ऐसे हवा फैला दिया है, कुछ जो सो कॉल्ड एक्सपर्ट्स वो ओवर इंटरप्रेट कर लिए, तो डर का एक वातावरण फैल गया। एंड वी बेटर वर्क विद द एक्सपर्ट्स टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट द लॉ सेज and how within the framework of the law how NGOs can work, okay, and how we can, without violating, how we can find new ways of doing our work.
A very good afternoon to everyone, and हमारे साथ थोड़ा एक द्वंद ये है कि आज हिंदी भाषी लोग भी हैं और सीधे तमिलनाडु और डाउन साउथ से भी हैं, तो थोड़ा सा वी नीड टू क्रिएट अ बैलेंस इन टर्म्स ऑफ द लैंग्वेज एंड कम्युनिकेटिंग। तो सभी साथियों को सलाम, नमस्कार और आप सबका स्वागत है।
Now our speakers will talk about the changes in the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act and its impact on Indian development sector.
The 9 points which the government has came out with, it is like for every point there is a reason. There were some situations for which all these things has come. There are total 9 amendments. The first amendment happened under section 3, where they added public servant into the list of people who are prohibited to accept foreign contribution. So there was nothing told about NGOs. Can they give? Can they have board members who is a public servant? It is nowhere told, but questions started coming. So we started interpreting. But the act clearly says section 3 talks about prohibition of accepting. So the person accepting the money from you also, they have added, there were a few instances, names, judges and other things, they have just added public servant. And the term public servant has not defined under FCRA Act. It is defined, they have referred IPC, Penal Code. So Indian Penal Code, under Indian Penal Code, they have defined public servant. So public servant includes a long list, more than 3 pages of list, but that also, like the last para only will be affecting people like us, NGOs, where we engage few people who are public servant as per the definition of IPC. The second amendment happened under section 7. So that means sublending, subgranting is stopped. If both the organization in India registered under MHA as FCRA registered organization, one organization receiving FC money from abroad cannot give it to the other organization. The third amendment happened under section 8, which is very critical and very crucial. The administrative expenses as per your policy, as per your funder, as per your income tax can be anything. But 8 points has been defined as administrative expenses. You have to book those expenditures under administrative irrespective of anything. The limit of administrative expenses before 29 September 2020 was 50% of your total receipt. Means if you receive 100 rupee, you could spend up to 50 rupee under administrative expenses under these 8 heads before 29th of September. Post 29th of September, the heads remain same, but the limit becomes 20%. The next amendment happened under section 11. It says ki, like earlier, if you have made any violation and you are an organization either permanently registered or prior permission organization, the government can initiate an inquiry, and till the time you are not proven guilty, you can do your work, you can withdraw your money, you can do anything. But with this amendment, those organizations who are prior permission organizations, they will not able to function. The moment the government, the inquiry starts, everything will stop. But the permanent registered organizations will continue, no problem. The fifth amendment happened under section 12. This talks about the governance, the governing body members. With this amendment, with effect from 29 September 2020, if anyone wants to continue in a board having a FC in a FC organization, they have to mandatorily give their Aadhaar number. If that person holds a Indian passport, means he is an Indian citizen. If that person is a foreigner, they have to give passport number. If that person is a OCI card holder, overseas citizen of India, then they have to give their OCI number. So with this, few of us started thinking the government has allowed foreigners can be in the board. But if we all remember, with effect from the change in the FC4 in 1920, the government has started asking how many board members are foreigner, how many employees are foreigner associated with you, how many people are associated with you as intern or anything who are foreigners. So they were asking last year, and this year they have allowed. The next amendment happened under section 11. It talks about suspension of certificates. So few of us know last 6 months, many religious organizations first received a suspension letter. Then they were asked, 3 of them got cancelled registration, 3 of them continued. So earlier, as per the provision, the government will take 180 days, means 6 months, to dispose of such suspension.
Right.
But with effect from 29th of September, they can do it till 1 year, means 360 days, means up to 1 year, no activity from foreign money. You can use your Indian money, you can work, but no FC money will be used. The 7th amendment happened under section 14. Under section 14 talks about surrender of certificate. Earlier, people had FCRA registration, got FC money, did very good work, build assets, but computers, gadi, vehicle, motorcycles, land, building, everything. They wanted to surrender because now quarterly return, COVID return, any change, FC6 return, fed up. No, we don't want FCRA. The money has come down also very, there is shortfall. The money is not coming that way, though it was coming 10 years back. We want to surrender. The process was just write a letter, attach your FC registration certificate, go to MHA, submit it. They will take some time, ask for some documents, registration surrendered. Your name will appear and it will appear status surrendered. But the process is not easy with effect from 29th of September 2020. You will go submit. The government next day will send a letter. The inquiry process will start. And all the assets you have created from the date of registration, not renewal, all the assets will waste on the government. Everything will be taken away by the government. So even continuing is difficult and surrendering is difficult at today's time. The 8th amendment happened. The renewal process will not be that easy this year. The amendment says that renewal will go through an inquiry process. We all know with what difficulty we have received our FCRA registration in 20-30 years back. It was not that easy. People used to come, ask question, meet our board members, take many documents, report from the field, report from the DC office. Everything is going to happen this time also. So we have to be very careful when we are filing our FC5 this year for the renewal, because you cannot change the figures also. The figures are automatically picked from your earlier FC4. There will be many things people will be coming asking, and so you have to do your homework. The last amendment happened under section 17, and this talks about the designated bank account. So many years we had one bank account which is written in our FC certificate, into which we received our FCRA funding. We utilized it. You all remember in 2017 many organizations lost their FCRA because they didn't have bank account with the PFMS, that banking thing which is recommended by banks, recommended by MHA. So everything was controlled. Auditor, NGO and the bank, the three people are accountable to the MHA still, and MHA was controlling through that bank everything. But today's date, through this amendment, they clearly said the bank has to be with SBI, State Bank of India, Parliament Street branch in New Delhi.
FCRA came in 1976, FCRR. Then in 2010, there was a complete overhaul. In 2011, the rules came out. In 2015, there were amendments. 2016, there were amendments. 2017, there were amendments. 2019, then the new rules were actually introduced. And now we have amended in 2020. Similarly, there were amendments in other laws that are applicable on a charitable institute in India. For instance, the Income Tax Act. Last year itself in the budget, in fact this year, the amendment was with respect to the Section 12 exemption that organizations have, and that was again restricted to 5 years, just like FCRA, a renewal process, and an automatic revalidation being offered to existing organizations. Before that, there were certain changes which were brought even under income tax, making certain sections of the act applicable on the organizations. For instance, payment of TDS, deduction of TDS, compulsory filing of return on time, etc. The amendments which have been introduced in the act, we should not see these only as mere amendments that have come. And instead of being reactive, it is time for the entire sector to be proactive. And when I say proactive, this is not just amendments, these are policy statements. सरकार ने एक पॉलिसी के ऊपर अपना एक स्टेटमेंट दिया है, अपनी अभिव्यक्ति दी है, अभिव्यक्त किया है, और क्या अभिव्यक्त किया है, यह कहा है कि जो स्वयंसेवी क्षेत्र है, स्वयंसेवी संस्था है, कानून के प्रति, विधान के प्रति, उस विधान का अनुपालन करना और उस विधान को लागू करके उसके हिसाब से काम करना उनके लिए अनिवार्य है. और आज हम किसी प्रकार का भेदभाव नहीं दिखा सकते, चाहे आप फॉर प्रॉफिट संस्था हो, चाहे नॉट फॉर प्रॉफिट संस्था हो. So the first one, what he spoke about, is the amendment which comes into the definition of public servant, Section 3. So Section 3 largely has a list of people, persons in FCRA. The term uses persons who are prohibited in receiving foreign contribution. वह लोग हैं, पहली बात, कोई जज, कोई एडिटर, या कोई कार्टूनिस्ट, अखबार में काम करने वाला, कोई राजनेता, कोई राजनीतिक दल. ये सारे वह व्यक्ति विशेष हैं जिन्हें अनुमति नहीं है कि वह विदेशी अंशदान को स्वीकार करें या उसकी स्वीकृति उन्हें नहीं मिल सकती. अब उन व्यक्ति विशेष में उन्होंने लोक सेवक जो है उसको और मिला लिया है, शामिल कर लिया है. लोक सेवक यानी कि पब्लिक सर्वेंट. जब ये लिखा जाता है कि अगर आपको किसी प्रकार का मानदेय या किसी प्रकार की तनख्वाह या वेतन मिलता है, तो उसका अर्थ यह नहीं है कि आप उसे स्वीकार करें या नहीं करें. अगर आप उसके हकदार हैं, आप उसके अधिकारी हैं, तो आप एक लोक सेवक की परिभाषा में शामिल हो जाते हैं. So any person in his individual capacity as a public servant cannot receive a foreign contribution. So it has absolutely no impact on an organization which is registered under FCRA. if there is a public servant on the board of that organization, that public servant in an individual capacity is different from the post he bears. So FCRA being received by an organization which is registered under FCRA is absolutely allowed. It is valid. Second comes on the transfer which has been prohibited. ऐसा अंशदान जो विदेशी अंशदान है उसके स्थानांतरण के ऊपर रोक लगा दी गई 29 सितंबर 2020 से. इससे जरूर एक बहुत बड़ा प्रभाव पड़ेगा उन संस्थाओं के ऊपर जो बड़ी संस्थाओं के साथ में एक पार्टनरशिप के अंदर काम किया करते थे. तीसरे प्रमुख विषय पे जो कि काफी लोग जिसकी बातें कर रहे हैं, और वो है, इस पे खासा तौर पे इन्होंने बता भी दिया कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्सपेंसेस की बात मैं कर रहा हूं. पहले 2011 में 50% की मात्रा में आपको प्रशासनिक व्यय, प्रशासनिक खर्चे जो थे उनकी उसकी अनुमति थी. You could spend 50% of administrative expenditure. Number one. Number two, a question was put up. A question was put up to the minister, and the minister had very clearly mentioned in 2011 I'm talking about, and they said that we have kept it 50% because it is difficult to define what constitute administrative. And administrative expenditure is not easy to define. It varies from activity to activity. It varies from institution to institution. That's why they had taken a cushion of 50%. And that's how that rule came out. That was the intention. Now, what they have done is that they have not changed anything as of now in the rules. They have only changed the limit from 50 to 20%. This amendment has become effective from 29th of September, which is mid of year. So can I say that from 1st of April to 29th of September, my administrative expenditure can be 50%. And from 30th of September till 31st of March, my administrative expenditure can be will only be 20%. I cannot do that. Right? So therefore, there has to be some kind of a transition. There has to be some kind of a relaxation, which the government will ratify. I don't suggest, and I will strongly discourage organizations in making any policy change with respect to administrative expenditure in the middle of the year. Do not do that. दो ऐसे प्रावधान रूल 5 में दिए गए हैं, और उसमें क्या प्रावधान दिए गए, दो ऐसी बातें उसमें जो लास्ट में लिखी गई है, provided, दो प्रोविजो, अगर इंग्लिश में बोलूं दो प्रोविजो है. What are the two provisos? Provision number 1 is that if any expenditure is being carried out as salaries which are paid to people for training, for analysis, and for collection of data of an organization which is primarily engaged in carrying out such work, then such amount or payments will not be considered as administrative expenditure. Second proviso में बोला जाता है कि अगर आप, if the proviso says that if the expenditure is being done directly for the program or carrying out of the welfare activity, for example, payment of salaries by a school to the teachers or by a hospital to the doctors, then it is a programmatic expenditure. बैंक खातों की बात अगर बताऊं तो देखिए, बैंक खातों की अगर हम बात करें तो पहले भी बैंक खातों के ऊपर ये बोला गया था कि आप बैंक खाते किसी भी बैंक में खोल सकते थे. अब उन्होंने एक खाता को नामित कर दिया, जो नामित खाता, डेजिग्नेशन अकाउंट जो आपका होगा. You can only have a designated account in the New Delhi main branch of SBI at 11 Sansad Marg. That would be your main FCRA account. You can only receive all FC into that account. You can continue with your existing accounts. They will just be like your utilization account. As per the notification that came out on 12th of October, they have very clearly mentioned that they will also provide you a facility of linking your existing bank accounts with the main bank account of NDMB FCRA. अब अगर मेरे से पूछा जाए इसका प्रभाव क्या होगा, देखिए प्रभाव कुछ नहीं होगा. प्रभाव ऐसा है कि पहले एक खाते में करते थे, अब सारे खाते शिफ्ट हो गए. आपका स्थानांतरण खातों का हो रहा है, आपका नहीं हो रहा है. ऐसा नहीं है कि चेन्नई में संस्था है, झारखंड में संस्था है तो उसका भी स्थानांतरण करके दिल्ली बुलाया जा रहा है. ऐसा नहीं है. संस्था वही रहेगी, संस्थापक वही रहेंगे, संस्था चलाने वाले वही रहेंगे, संस्था का कार्य वही रहेगा. आपका खाता सिर्फ और सिर्फ आपके खाता, नामित खाता स्टेट बैंक में आ जाएगा. These are the implications or the impact, as I said, in a very brief manner. And the last one with respect to the renewal, my suggestion here, please go back, do a small due diligence and review of the last 5 years of your FCRA work and FCRA account. If you find any irregularities or non-compliance, दो चीजें होती है, irregularity, non-compliance. Irregularity, non-compliance नहीं होता है. Irregularity का अर्थ हो गया कि आपको फॉर्म FC6E भरना था, आपने कोई बोर्ड मेंबर का या पदाधिकारी का आपने संस्थापक में बदलाव किया, पदाधिकारियों का बदलाव किया, तो उसकी जो इंटीमेशन है वह आपको संचार जो है वो 15 दिन की अवधि में देना था, 15 में नहीं दे पाए, 30 दिन में दिया। तो क्या हुआ कि इसमें एक इरेगुलरिटी हो गई। नोट कर लीजिए, होगा क्या कि अब क्योंकि एक इंक्वायरी की जो पावर है वो दे दी गई है या सरकार ने खुद ले ली है अपने हाथों में, तो हो सकता है आपसे उसके उस विषय में किसी प्रकार का कोई क्लैरिफिकेशन मांगा जाए। तो बहुत आवश्यक हो गया है, अनिवार्य हो गया है कि आपको इस बात का ज्ञान होना चाहिए, ज्ञात होना चाहिए कि हमारे से कोई चूक हुई है क्या। अगर हुई है तो हम उसके जवाबदेही हमारी हमेशा से थी, पर अब हमारे पास उसका जवाब भी रहना चाहिए। तो जरूरी नहीं है कि अगर आपसे चूक हो गई तो आपका वापस से एक जो रिन्यूअल है वो नहीं होगा, रिन्यूअल होगा, लेकिन आपको ये ध्यान रखना है कि रिन्यूअल के लिए जो आपको डेटा चाहिए, जिस प्रकार का आपको जानकारी चाहिए, वो जानकारी आपके पास में रहे, ताकि आप उस पूरे प्रक्रिया के अंदर एक निर्विघ्न तरीके से आप काम कर सकें। तो नवीनीकरण की जो आपकी पूरी की पूरी प्रथा है वो हो जाए।
आज के लिए आप सबका मैं अपनी तरफ से, क्रेडिबिलिटी अलायंस की तरफ से धन्यवाद करके वापस डोला सर, अंजनी जी, साहू जी, उदय जी and all other panelists, Ajit ji, over to you back and to take it forward and consolidate.
मैं प्रशंसा करना चाहूंगा डोला सर का। मैं देख रहा हूँ इतने अच्छे पोस्ट पे बैठे हुए एक व्यक्ति, और जहाँ पे बाहर की ही पैसे की बारिश हो रही है और वो व्यक्ति उसके साथ बात कर रहा है कि नहीं ये सारा कुछ ठीक है, तो मैं उम्मीद कर सकता हूँ कि ये सारा कुछ जो FCRA है वो सब और हमारे लिए ये पॉजिटिव बात है। दूसरी बात, एक हम बात करते हैं ज्ञान की और एक बात करते हैं प्रेजेंटेशन की। आज के हमारे दोनों CA जो बैठे थे, एक तो एक एक पॉइंट पे ज्ञान और उसको कैसे हम प्रेजेंट करें, ये दोनों का तालमेल बिल्कुल सही रहा। मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि हमारे सारे प्रतिभागियों ने बिल्कुल लुत्फ, और जैसे डोला सर बोल रहे थे कि आज मुझे कभी कभी तो मैं स्पीकर के यहाँ कान लगा लिया करता था कि कोई शब्द छूटे नहीं। इतनी बारीकी ढंग से इन्होंने आपने बखान की है। मैं आप दोनों का आभार व्यक्त करना चाहूंगा। आपने अपना समय निकाल कर हमें समय दिया है, तो मैं एक बार अपने प्रतिभागियों को भी धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा जो इस समय में भी, इतने व्यस्तम समय में हमारे साथ जुड़े रहे। और मैं इसी के साथ सभी लोगों को धन्यवाद देते हुए विदा लेना चाहूंगा, अगर डोला सर और साहू सर और वशिष्ठ सर की आज्ञा हो तो।
Thanks for watching. For more updates, please subscribe to our official YouTube channel and follow us here.